Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Let's look into the first question. With reference to Mohiniyattam dance, which of the following statements is or correct? It is the classical solo dance form of Kerala. The dance form was introduced in the 17th century by Travancore kings Maharaja Kartika Tirunal and his successor Maharaja Swati Tirunal. Mohiniyattam is characterized by graceful, swaying body movements with no abrupt jerks or sudden leaps. It belongs to Lasya style, which is feminine, tender and graceful. Which of the statements are correct in reference to Mohiniyattam dance? The answer to this is 1 and 3. Why is the second option wrong? That is because this dance form was structured by the kings, but its origination is still unknown. So it was not introduced by these Travancore kings, but it was only structured by these Travancore kings. Now when we look into the exact period of its origin, it is still unknown when it comes to the Mohiniyattam dance. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given under this article. So kindly remember, the word Mohini is related to charming women avatar of Lord Vishnu when it comes to Mohini Attam. It traces its origin to the temples of Kerala. The footwork is not that hard or abrupt, but it flows softly when it comes to Mohini Attam. Importance is given more to the hand gestures and it is to the facial expression as shown in this particular picture. When you look into this particular picture, you have the Mohiniyattam dancers who wear white or off-white costume. You also have a unique hairstyle as well, which is in the form of a bun hairstyle, and this bun hairstyle is what is called as kuduma. The dancers in Mohiniyattam also wear a lot of ornaments when it comes to their dancing as well. So kindly remember, this Mohiniyattam is basically more about hand gestures and the facial expressions, and the word Mohini is related to charming women avatar of Lord Vishnu. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are the compulsory provisions of the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act? Organization of Grama Sabha in a village or group of villages, direct elections to the post of chairperson of panchayats at the intermediate and district levels, 25 years to be the minimum age for contesting elections to panchayats, reservation of one-third seats, both members and chairpersons for women in panchayats at all levels, providing reservation of seats, both members and chairpersons for backward classes in panchayats at all levels. Which of the following are the compulsory provisions? The answer to this is 1 and 4 only. Why are the other options wrong? That is because when it comes to the second option, it is not the direct elections, but instead it is the indirect elections. So the second option is completely eliminated. The third option, it is not 25 years, but instead it is 21 years. So the third option is eliminated. And when it comes to the fifth option, this is not a compulsory provision, but this happens to be a voluntary provision. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference to this article. What are the most important compulsory provisions when it comes to the Constitutional Amendment Act of 73rd? We have organization of Grama Sabha in a village or the group of villages. We have to establish panchayats at the village, intermediate and district levels, direct elections to all the seats in panchayats at the village, intermediate and district levels. So we have direct elections when it comes to seats in the panchayats, but then when it comes to the selecting of the chairperson of the panchayats, it is indirect elections and not the direct elections. Then we have 21 years to be the minimum age for contesting elections to the panchayats. Reservation is provided not for the OBCs, but instead it is for the SC/STs in panchayats at all the three levels. Then we also have the minimum fixed tenure of 5 years, establishment of a state election commission and a constitution of state finance commission every 5 years to review the financial position of the panchayats. So kindly remember all these compulsory provisions when it comes to the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. India launched its first scientific expedition to Arctic in 2007. India presently has two research stations at Arctic, namely Himadri and Maitri. Which of the statements is or correct? The answer to this is 1 only. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference given under this article. So kindly remember, when it comes to India, India has two research stations at Antarctica and it is not Arctic. So we have Maitri and Bharati, which is present in Antarctica, but when it comes to India's Arctic station, what we have is Himadri, which is located in Ney Island. Where is it? It is present in one of the islands called as Spitsbergen, and this happens to be present in the country of Norway. So kindly remember, this can be very important from your preliminary examination point of view. What is the context of this article? The context says that the government of India is planning to come up with a policy, and it is also seeking the comments for the same as well. This is about expanding the scientific research, sustainable tourism and mineral oil exploration in the Arctic region. So this particular policy has been put out in the public forum. They are now seeking comments with respect to this policy. The article further speaks about Arctic research, which will help in India's scientific community to study the melting rates of what is called as the third pole. So what is this third pole? When you look into the poles, we have the North Pole, which is the Arctic region. Then we have the Southern Pole, which is the region of Antarctica. There is something called as third pole, and that happens to be the region in and around the Himalaya Hindu Kush mountain range as well as the Tibetan plateau. Why is that it becomes very important for us to study about the third pole? That is because this is one of the major regions where nearly 10 odd rivers originate from the Himalayan region. Because there are more than 10 odd rivers which originate here, this is also a source of livelihood to number of people across India, China and multiple other countries as well. Why? That is because these glaciers that are present in the Hindu Kush region melt down, and ultimately this becomes the source of drinking water as well. It is also used for irrigation. It is also used for hydropower electricity as well. In case due to climate change, if the glaciers are melting at a very fast rate, it means the climate change is inducing changes in this particular area. If this is induced by the climate change, who will be harmed? It is India as well as China. So what is India doing? It is making sure that it is advancing its studies with respect to the third pole, where we have our Himalayas, which is the major source of water for the rivers like Yamuna, Ganga, so on and so forth. So what this study also intends to do is also bring an understanding about the Arctic region. Why? Because similar instances and environment is also present in the Himalaya Hindu Kush mountain region. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements with respect to Qutub Shahi dynasty. It was established after the collapse of Bahmani Sultanate by Quli Qutub Mulk. The dynasty ruled for nearly 171 years until the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb's army conquered Golconda in 1687. Which of the above statements is or incorrect? Kindly note, it is asking for the incorrect statement. So the answer to this is neither 1 nor 2. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following are the examples of Qutub Shahi Indo-Islamic architecture? Golconda Fort, Charminar, Mecca Masjid and Toli Masjid. The answer to this is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Why have we taken both these practice questions? Because of the reference given under this article. So kindly remember, the Qutub Shahi dynasty ruled the Golconda Sultanate in the southern part of India. After the collapse of the Bahmani Sultanate, what we have is establishment of number of kingdoms in the southern part of India. One such kingdom or the dynasty is the Qutub Shahi dynasty, which was established in the year 1518, and this was initially started off by Quli Qutub Mulk, who assumed the title of Sultan. The dynasty came to an end in the year 1687 during the reign of its seventh Sultan Abul Husan Qutub Shah, when Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb seized Golconda Fort and occupied the kingdom. Also remember, they have what is called as the Qutub Shahi architecture. So the Indo-Islamic, a culmination of Indian and Persian architectural styles, is what is called as Qutub Shahi architecture. Some examples of the Qutub Shahi architecture, as we have just discussed, includes Golconda Fort, Charminar, Mecca Masjid, Toli Masjid. It also includes the tombs of Qutub Shahis as well. And one of the unique monuments of this Qutub Shahi architecture is what is called as the Charminar. So the Charminar was erected by Quli Qutub Shah while he shifted his capital from Golconda to Hyderabad. Kindly remember, it is called as Charminar. That is because it consists of 4 minarets, and as a result we have this very name called as Charminar. Consider the following statements. The Constitution of India defines its basic structure in terms of federalism, secularism, fundamental rights and democracy. The Constitution of India provides for judicial review to safeguard the citizens' liberties and to preserve the ideals on which the constitution is based. Which of the above statements is or correct? The answer to this is neither one nor two. Why is it neither one or two? That is because the Constitution of India does not define what is called as the basic structure. This is basically the idea of the Supreme Court of India or the judiciary in India. We have to go back to what is called as the Keshavananda Bharati case. It is this landmark case which produced or gave the idea of the basic structure doctrine. So this is not defined in the Constitution of India, but this is a Supreme Court innovation, which basically means there are certain ideas which are very fundamental to the existence of the Constitution. The Parliament would not be able to change the very aspects of the basic structure. It was laid in Keshavananda Bharati case. It is not defined in the Constitution of India. And at the same time, when you look into the second option, you would say that this is part of the judicial review under Article 13. But that once again is not defined in the Constitution of India. Yes, we have judicial review. That is explicitly not mentioned but implicitly assumed under Article 13 of the Indian Constitution. So do remember, the second option is also wrong. That is because this has not been defined in the Constitution of India. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day here is speaking about Muttuvan tribe. Remember, from the examination point of view, the Muttuvan tribe are the tribes who are present in the state of Kerala. They are distributed in Idukki districts and in the adjoining Western Ghats of the Palakkad and the Thrissur district. They also speak a dialect of their own as well. Traditionally, these Muttuvans are nomadic agriculturists, hunters as well as trappers. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.